So I've taken a lot of cruises in my life, but this one is different. It's my first time ever cruising completely alone. No friends, no family, no backup, just me and a 7-day itinerary to Bermuda. Now, I was super excited, but I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't a little nervous as well. I had all these questions. Would I feel lonely? Would it be awkward to eat alone? Would I regret doing this by myself? But here's what actually surprised me about cruising solo for the first time.
NCL should get major props for promoting the solo experience. Like, for example, I don't think that if you were to travel solo with another cruise line, you'd have as much fun as you'd have on NCL. The solo lounge over here was a huge reason why I didn't feel isolated on this cruise ship. If you're cruising solo, look for ships with solo lounges or studio rooms because it definitely makes a huge difference. And from what I hear, a lot of people actually get these solo rooms specifically for this coffee machine. You get free ground coffee that's better than Starbucks and you don't have to pay for it. Anytime you want. I wake up at 5 a.m. to go catch the sunrise. Guess what? I'm over here making a cup of coffee. And it's only a few steps away from my room. Super convenient. I love it. In fact, I was talking to this couple who shared a little secret with me. They're actually traveling together, but they booked solo adjoining rooms. This way they have a his and hers bathroom and they have this solo lounge to get coffee and hang out in. It's a really smart move because it's really not that much more money for you to book a solo versus a double with somebody else. So far, I really love that about NCL solo experience. No other cruise lines do this, and they really should. And by the way, if this is your first time here, my name is Tom Sunday. I make a ton of cruise videos to help you have a better vacation. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so YouTube recommends my next helpful video to you.
I also noticed that every day on the planner there was a solo meetup scheduled, kind of like a social hour where solo travelers could gather. A lot of people would meet there and then go to the main dining room together as a group, which is a really thoughtful idea, giving people who might feel a little awkward a way to connect with others in the same boat. No pun intended. Personally, I didn't go, not because I wasn't interested, but because I had a different mission. You see, I had to visit a different restaurant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day to make a full dining guide for you. By the way, if you want to see what that culinary adventure looked like, I'll link that video for you above. A few other things I noticed, like dining solo made getting a table so much easier. You're a party of one, so they can fit you anywhere. Most two-top tables are also very tight for two people. If you've been to the main dining room on any cruise ship, you know what I mean. But when you're solo, you get all of that space, which I especially appreciated when setting up my camera. Same goes for the theater. I could walk in 5 minutes before showtime and still find a seat. I never had to worry about missing out. Being solo just gave me more options. And then there's the freedom. Waking up when I wanted to. Doing what I wanted, eating where I wanted, no coordinating, no compromising. It was peaceful, centered, and to be honest with you, kind of empowering.
However, it wasn't just rainbows and butterflies. You know, one isn't always the best number. Sitting at this two-top table in between two other couples, alone, in a formal dining room, well, I'll be lying if I didn't tell you that it was awkward, because it was. Normally, whenever you go to dinner, you usually go with somebody else, especially on vacation. You go with family, you go with the loved ones, you have a great time. Here, like I said, it can be awkward. There are times where people are going to be chatting with you, you're going to make friends, it's going to be a great time. But there are going to be times where you're going to be sitting there by yourself with people completely ignoring you because they're having their own good time with the family, with the loved ones, and all of that. And after a couple of nights in the main dining room, I realized I wasn't enjoying it. It just didn't vibe with the solo experience, at least not for me. So instead of going to the main dining room, I started doing what I want to. I went back to Wasabi for sushi, and that yellowfin tuna was amazing. And to be honest with you, this place is a lot more relaxing for a solo. Don't force the main dining room if it doesn't work for you. Bar seating, sushi counters, or specialty spots might feel more comfortable and casual for a solo.
There were also other moments that felt incomplete. Watching a show, seeing a great sunset, times where I just wish someone was sitting next to me so I could share the moment with them. I mean, it wasn't sadness, but it was just a reminder that I was doing this alone.
You know, most people on a cruise ship are friendly. I mean, after all, everyone is on vacation. And when you're a solo, you're a lot more approachable and maybe even more open to conversation. So I'm sure that you're going to make a lot of friends. Second night, I met the most amazing couple and I had the greatest dinner with them, to be honest with you. They changed my whole view and kind of kicked off the cruise for me. It was amazing. I even stayed a little bit after to have a conversation with them. And that's really the gist of what ended up happening. Every time I go to dinner, every time I sit down and have a coffee at the solo lounge, I ended up meeting new friends. I ended up talking to a lot of people. Being solo opens you up to a lot more conversation. So maybe you get on a cruise by yourself, but you leave with a lot of friends. I'm not saying cruising solo is the only way to go. However, it is much different than going with somebody else. And that different doesn't necessarily have to be bad. In fact, in my situation, and so far in my experience, that different is actually good. Beautiful. So this solo experience, honestly, I probably could recommend to a lot of people. At least once in your adult life, you should do this, just to kind of understand yourself. I don't know if words can really explain it, but I gotta be honest, I benefited greatly so far by being alone for 3 days. And whenever I used to think about solo cruisers, I'll be honest with you, I kind of felt bad for them. I always thought, oh, they're by themselves. I always got like a pity or sadness for them for some reason. But after doing this, I'd probably be more jealous, to be honest with you.
So here's what I learned and what I'd share with anyone thinking about doing this by themselves. First thing, you have to make sure you pick the right ship. NCL is currently the best cruise line for solo travelers. They offer studio rooms, a dedicated solo lounge, and even daily meetups to help you connect with others. If you're gonna go, don't force yourself into uncomfortable situations. If formal dining alone feels awkward, just skip it. Try bar seating, the buffet, or a specialty venue where it feels more casual. Take advantage of solo perks. You'll get seats at shows. You'll get tables easily. You might even get more personal attention from the crew because you're alone and open to conversation. Cruising solo is way better and easier than solo land trips. On land, you'd have to plan everything: hotel, food, transportation, safety. On a cruise ship, it's all done for you. You can be as social or as private as you want, and everything is within walking distance. Solo cruising is actually normalized, especially on NCL. It's not weird, it's expected. There's a whole system set up to make solo travelers feel welcome. Now here's the hardest part about cruising by yourself, and that's pricing. It's not always fair, and honestly, kind of frustrating. Most cruise lines base their prices on double occupancy. So if you want to cruise solo, you'll be charged double the rate, even though you're just one person. Some lines like Celebrity may charge more than double because they say that they're losing onboard revenue from your missing quote-unquote partner. Celebrity Cruises does have solo cabins on their Edge-class ships, but good luck booking one of those. They sell out years in advance. Even worse, some cruise lines like Princess and MSC don't let you book solo at all. I tried and it was impossible. Now some people try to get around this whole thing by booking for two and showing up alone. Technically you can do that, but it's against policy, and cruise lines reserve the right to re-rate your booking, meaning they could charge you the difference. I definitely don't recommend it. You should follow the rules, and honestly, this kind of stress is definitely not worth it on day one of your vacation. So realistically, solo cruisers are left with one solid option: NCL. They don't charge double, you still pay more than half, but it's often a fair solo rate, especially when they run a sale. I paid under $1,000 total for a 7-day cruise in my solo cabin. If I had gone with another cruise line, the same itinerary in a regular interior cabin would have cost me around $1,700. Sure, I would have earned double the loyalty points, but that math just didn't work for me. This experience gave me a new level of appreciation for NCL. They're the only cruise line I've seen that truly welcomes solo travelers, not just tolerates them. And I really hope that other cruise lines start to pay attention and do the same things. So, would I cruise solo again? Absolutely. This trip wasn't about being alone. It was about seeing if I could enjoy a cruise on my terms. And I definitely did. If you've been thinking about cruising solo but were unsure, I hope this video helped. And if you've cruised solo before, I'd love to hear your experience. Drop a comment, let's talk. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.